Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Europe. Good morning, Asia, and good morning, America. We have, an important session talking about the shortage of protein, and on the stage this morning, we have some good experts. So first, we have Bruno Géhin from Fermentalg. He is the director, feed and nutrition at Fermentalg. We have Becky. She's a returning expert. She was last year on the same kind of panel, and we really want her to stay every year after year. You're talking about shortage of protein and microalgae. So Becky is the Director of Application Research Quality Assurance at Alltech in the USA. And we have Ragnhild Solheim, who's the Director of Research at NMBU in Norway. So this is everything we need to talk about this big coming crisis. As you know, in the next 5 years, there's going to be a major problem, with protein. And we are facing a severe shortage, and at this stage, we'd like you to see how the microalgae will give an appropriate answer to fight, this protein shortage. Let me start with the usual question. What will be the 2 or 3 points that the audience that are watching you today would like to know about you? What is the key important facts, and tell us, who you are. We're going to start with Ragnhild.
Thank you, Pierre. I'm Ragnhild Solheim, the Director of Research at the University of Life Sciences in Norway. My background is food science and nutrition, and my key task at the university is to fire both research and have the fire on innovation. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Becky, everybody will know you, but please, tell us.
Thank you, Pierre. As mentioned, I am Director of Quality Assurance and Applications Research at Alltech, but more importantly, I'm also the Technical Director of Alltech Algae. So Alltech is a privately held animal health company that is located in 128 countries. And since 2011, we've been commercially producing microalgae for animal feed and also aquaculture.
And Bruno, who are you?
So I studied in Paris, food science in the Paris Institute, and my career's always been focused on protein. In fact, I started in France with animal production, from the feed to the breeding and the valorization of the animals, pig, cows, etc., in the center of France and the east of France. And then I joined an international company, Rocket, and I had the chance to be focused on plant-based protein. And I first started to promote them in animal nutrition with a strong focus in aquaculture, especially in the 90s, where the industry was very, very reluctant in using even 1 or 2% of gluten, wheat gluten or corn gluten protein because of the color, because there was always something wrong. And then I had the chance to work on to launch new proteins in human nutrition. And this year I joined Fermentalg, and I am currently working on the smarter protein, microalgae.
Thank you, Bruno. Can you keep, your mic just under the chin? This is a thorough introduction. Let's jump in the discussion, and I will change the rules. So if you want to add comments, and to bring more information on one question, feel free, to interrupt me. Okay? So let's start with Ragnhild, and I'm going to ask you where we are today when it comes to research on extracting protein from microalgae. Tell us, you're the master of research. Tell us where we are.
Oh, that's a huge question, Pierre.
And you have only 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of strains from microalgae. They are good as a feed resource for the aquaculture. That's established marine industry for years. The researchers are now keen on understanding how these proteins are working and the effects of the protein. And the group at our university have found that the protein from microalgae are reducing the enteritis in the fish, and that's very promising and interesting results. The price of the microalgae is quite high, not competitive always.
Everybody will agree on this?
And and therefore the researchers, they are keen on find other compounds from the microalgae so they can have a holistic use of this resource. And they are also keen on doing a good production. Therefore, they have developed this concept of biorefinery, a biorefinery concept, so they can use all types of resources, both high-value compounds and macronutrients as protein.
Ragnhild, let me interrupt you, 1 second, because you said something, the price is quite high. We have on the stage 2 companies that are, one, the largest producer of microalgae, depending on the technology, but, Becky, Bruno, would you agree on this still?
I would say that traditionally it was believed that the price of microalgae was too high. I think a lot of things through innovation, through processing has changed that. As mentioned, the raw materials that you use are very key. You have to look for alternative raw materials. You have to look for driving efficiencies. Scale is very important. You need to be a large scale. I do think those prices are down that are competitive now, or can be, depending on what material you're looking at. But also, as mentioned, you can look at different components that help drive that price down. So you can look at basically fractionating, pulling out high value streams so that your protein is going to be more cost competitive.
Okay, and maybe this is a consequence, but Bruno, why is microalgae protein mainly limited to niches such as larvae, in aqua and feed supplement?
Yeah.
Is it because of the price?
First of all, what is niche? A niche is a place where your product can find a market for which there is no real efficient competitive offer. So microalgae are in the larvae or food or feed supplement niches because they bring more value than the competition ingredient. So why? Second aspect, why do they stay for so long time in that niche? Because as Pierre explained a few minutes ago, larvae started 25 years ago to larvae feed with microalgae is very, very old. And why? It's because the value is very high, but also that the market is growing. So when the market is growing, there's no need to go out of the niche. So then leaving a niche is quite difficult. You are quite comfortable in a niche. You do a product, the situation is clear. So, but when will a product leave a niche? It's either it's because it has to, either for competition reason, either for market reason. If the market is declining, it's not good at all to be in a niche, or for strategic reason or opportunities. In the case of microalgae, we are currently definitely at a stage where opportunities are coming due to the market, due to the new technologies, and in fermental, with the mixotrophy, we definitely think that we are ready to go out of the niches. And one part of the answer was also in your, of the question was in your answer. The problem of cost has to be addressed by taking globally the system. If microalgae are there only to produce lutein or I don't know, a specific component, it will be expensive anyway.
Becky, you want to add something on this?
Yes. As Bruno mentioned, the niche markets are a little bit more willing to pay for the value. You're getting extra value out of some of these proteins than you would other protein sources. And the traditional markets might not be ready to think outside the box and look at it other than just a protein. So that's education we need to do on our side.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with you, Becky. And so what are, we're talking about niches, but what are the remaining bottlenecks if we want to generalize, the use of this microalgae? What?
Several bottlenecks, as just mentioned, in industry. They have to be willing to move from their traditional sources and look at other things and evaluate them a little bit differently. There's regulatory bottlenecks. We think, okay, algae is natural, it's coming from the food chain where it's been for years, this should be easy. It isn't always. You still have to go through a lot of regulatory challenges on things. The other bottleneck is really scale. I mean, we need to be going a lot larger on this to be competitive.
We don't call that bottlenecks, research, but Ragnhild, from the research point of view, what are the challenges and the obstacles, to increase the use of microalgae and generalize in the utilization?
I think we can follow the path that Becky just mentioned with upscaling the production. It might be necessary to make some interfaces between different fields, scientific fields, to make solutions in between using the biological resources and the technical equipment. And from a research point of view, of course, it's very interesting to do more scientific understanding of new compounds, which you also heard about earlier this day, in the healthcare, human health, and so on.
Okay. Any comment on this? Good. So, would the technology help, to broaden the use of microalgae? And Becky, maybe you can tell us, because you have those big fermenters and the plans to develop new fermenters. What is, for our audience, can you give us some rough number? What is the market? What is the market expectation? What we can produce? Where are we?
The market's very large. If we would look at just salmon alone, we figured it would take around 100,000 tons of algae.
100,000 tons.
Yes, and
Okay.
that's excuse me, that is replacing fish oil. That's not even looking at
Okay.
the protein side. So very large market. In our case, we're looking across all species of animals, so we're not just looking at aquaculture. So the market is unlimited. Right now, we are expanding our production to 14,000 tons. So you see there's a lot of area to increase that. We're also looking at modular designs going up to 100,000 tons, but the market's huge.
And Bruno, what is the size of your fermenter you're building in Libourne? And do we have, around the world, large-scale production units, except, from Alltech and you guys?
So the fermentation capacity of Libourne will be lower than that of Alltech, because it is really dedicated to be a demo plant to help our customer enter a new market with a new biomass, new microalgae that they want to develop. There are in the world big plants that are growing microalgae, but we must say that these plants are not on a first intention focused on protein. They are growing microalgae to produce DHA oils, to produce pigment, etc. But the protein comes afterwards. And one of the progress that has to be done is to have this bio-raffinery approach where all the fractions have to bring their best in the value chain. And this is even more important when considering microalgae, because if you grow microalgae for protein, so you can compete with fish meal or soya, etc. But the size of the plant will never be, and the size of the market will never be that of soybean meal, which is several hundreds of thousands or several hundreds of millions of tons. Okay, so that's really huge. The fish meal also is another dimension. The wheat protein, the corn protein, etc. So it's another dimension. But microalgae brings protein with someone else, and if the technology is efficient, we think that there will be some large plant. And the one that will, let me say that the one that will help us in that success is microalgae itself. Because when you start using microalgae, it brings you more than what you expect. You buy it for protein, but you have together better immunity for the animals, or better quality of the flesh, etc., etc. So the first entrance is the more difficult, I think, and then it will grow step by step. Yeah.
This is very interesting. And during the last day, we had chance to listen to different people talking about heterotrophy, autotrophy, mixotrophy. Can you, for the audience that are looking, around the world, and say, well, I'm going to jump, into the microalgae business. I want to give more numbers, economics. What kind of investment are we talking, and what does it take as an investment in long term, to develop a real business producing microalgae? Maybe Becky, you want to start with that?
It's a difficult question because it really depends on what you are trying to produce and what system you're going to go with. We had some early experience on the autotrophic or photosynthetic type of algae. You hear that's a low initial investment because you are typically working in tubes or bags or raceways of water. The feed is going to be cheaper, so that's a lower initial investment, but your efficiencies are very low. You have to worry about things like environmental changes. So then if you go heterotrophic, it's going to be upfront more capital, but you can drive your efficiencies much higher. You can control everything. So it really depends on what you're producing and how you view it.
Okay. Ragnhild, a question for you. And what will be the next breakthrough in terms of research in the microalgae area?
From history, we know that it's very difficult to know or to point on breakthroughs. But the professors, they are talking about identifying novel strains, productive strains with respect to high protein levels and, in addition, long-chained fatty acid. Yes, and the other thing they are talking about is that they think they will be able to identify strains that are really productive. And I guess both these paths will be very important to the microalgae production in general.
Becky, now going back, to the industry, and if what is that you foresee as a major development? Because you're focusing on the feed, but you mentioned that the market is totally open. So what will be the next step, for Alltech, to jump in, and what do you intend to do in terms of production?
Yes, with our production, again, like I said, we're at commercial scale and we're continuing to increase our volume in our markets. So we're already doing that. If you're looking at the research level, there's believed to be hundreds of thousands of species of algae that have all different kinds of components. So I think you go back to nature and say, what are the value? What is it we're looking for? What are the values as we're looking at alternatives to antimicrobials, and we're looking at health challenges in our animals? We can look to algae and algae components for solutions. And I think that's where a lot of the focus will be.
And yesterday we had a session on international collaboration for the blue growth, which is, part of the blue growth. Microalgae is one important component. How do you see interaction between industry research, government? Would like, to answer this unexpected question.
I think it's a key part of it. I think that, you do have to have the interaction between the different segments. You've got the industry who knows what their needs are and their specific issues. The commercial side, obviously, is going to be a key part of producing it in a cost-effective way. And then the educational institutions are going to be doing a lot of the basic research. So I think the three together are very key to moving it forward.
And Bruno, from the Fermental experience, what did you learn from that, and how's the collaboration? Because France, and especially the Aquitaine region, has been very supportive with Pierre when he started his business. How do you foresee the expansion? Is it more on a one-to-one partnership, with industry? Are you looking for partnering with different governments? We have all our friends from Quebec, and so how do you foresee the future?
So there are two directions. One is the need for microalgae, for players of the microalgae to have a common language. And that means to work with the government to create maybe associations that are quite aligned in the messages to be given to the consumer, but also to politics and to universities. So that's one dimension. Then the other aspect concerning industrialization, we are definitely, when you discuss with major groups in the world, we are definitely aligned with their objective when we discuss microalgae in the innovation strategy of those companies. So there will be several significant projects with the cooperation of technology platform like Fermental and already on the market players in all the fields. Feed is one, but also food, cosmetology, industry, etc. And then I'm coming back to the beginning. The message, the communication, the positioning are very important, and we have to lower the hurdle that could be put by the governments, by the regulations, etc. So that's why the cooperation is definitely key.
Let me touch on a very important problem. We know that the market of microalgae is patent dependent, and how do you cope with the monopoly of Martech and DSM? How do you go around? If you want to innovate, if you want to bring new product on the market, how do you guys work? And how do you try to develop yourself? Becky, you want to answer this?
Yes, and I do think innovation's key. There are some players that are out there that would have been maybe first to market, but there are a lot of opportunity, again, through so many different species, through different ways of growing, through the way that you feed the algae. There's just a lot of different options, and you just have to be creative.
And Bruno, you want to answer this question?
Yeah, I think that it's another aspect, but in terms of industrialization, there won't be a type of plant with a single microalgae that will cover all the needs of all the world, like soybean meal. So the context of production of a microalgae by an industrial in a specific context in terms of either the climate, the temperature, the raw material available, the substrate, and the target in terms of is it protein plus pigment, is it protein plus fiber or DHA or I don't know what. So there will be, instead of having one single product for all the world, there will be several plants, okay, with for each of them a specific target, with an innovative approach. So that means that it will be new, and if the technology applied differs from the traditional one, there are ways to create something without having issues with patents.
Okay. Yeah. Ragnhild, coming back to research, how do you cope with that? Because are you putting a lot of patent on the table to protect and spin off? How do you work, in Norway, especially at NMBU?
We have this ecosystem for innovation, and we are working, we have long traditions for working together with the industry on different sectors of the industry, where the scientists come up with their ideas and the knowledge, and we discuss with the industry how to deal with the IPR. There is usually we find good solutions, so we can either sell or lease the IPR to the industry, and they can do their commercialization. We are very proud of and have newly established one example of this type of collaboration, Foods of Norway, where we are dealing with feed and for the whole food chain, and also feed from new bioresources for both aquaculture, cattle and livestock, poultry and swine. So we're looking forward to even develop the innovation system in the near future with all our partners.
Good. This is very interesting, and I want to send a very strong positive message to the audience. this is the good time, to be ready, to invest. Even with the shortage of protein, we have, some adequate answer to bring to the market. Just a quick conclusion, what will be the takeaway message and what are the immediate steps we need to take, and look at the camera and tell our audience that even if there's a shortage of protein, we're going to feed them, no matter. Okay? So, Becky, you start first.
Okay, I do think it's a very positive message and big opportunity. I've been in the animal nutrition segment for about 30 years, and to me this is very exciting times. There's a lot of opportunity with microorganisms, bacteria, yeast, microalgae, that we can provide protein that is going to supply the needs of the people.
Thank you. Becky, you'll be invited next year. I like your message. Bruno.
Okay, so we are in a situation with aquaculture that can be compared with what happened in human food today. In a Western country, the consumer wants to go from animal protein to plant-based protein. And they have sustainable aspect, economical aspect, ethical reason to do this. It's not possible for carnivorous fish to feed 100% of the protein plant-based with plant-based solutions. So then comes the microalgae. So really, in terms of aquaculture, we think that there are solutions based on microalgae, protein, lipids, and other micronutrients to secure the future and so the supply of fish for the planet.
Very positive message you on for Oslo 2016. And the final word to the Norwegian research.
Yeah, continue on doing scientific, of course. Develop the biorefinery holistic concept. I think that's very important. And also to put up patient risk capital for developing the companies.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Fermental, our official industry partner, for bringing the session together. And before we say goodbye to our audience, I would like to call Pierre Caléja. Are you still here? No? He's gone already. So we're going to ask Bruno to make the draw. Fermental is offering to one of our attendees a microalgae lamp. So they couldn't bring it for a custom reason, but they're going to receive it, and the lucky winner, will have, the carbon dioxide, level going down, in his office, and that's going to be fun. And next year we want, sorry, my time is off, and next year we want photos, from the lucky winner with the lamp so we can display that. Bruno, can you proceed to the draw, please?
Okay, thank you.
And the lucky winner is?
The lucky winner is Fermental.
Okay. Sama Kix.
From the US.
Yeah, from US. Thank you very much. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to send her, the microalgae, and we make sure that, the ambience, is terrific. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching Bioimmunity TV online, and we're coming soon. Stay tuned. Thank you.